The Bounty. Carfax stood motionless on the observation deck of his warship, Void Talon, gazing at the stars. 6 arms crossed over his armored chest, mandibles clicking in contemplation. For 3 centuries, he had carved his name into the annals of galactic mercenary legends as a Shekthar warrior, standing 9 feet tall with chitinous exoskeletal plating capable of deflecting energy weapons. Most species considered his kind the apex predators of the Andromeda arm. The communication console chimed, pulling him from his thoughts. The encrypted message displayed a sum that made even Carfax's compound eyes widen in surprise. 1 billion galactic credits, enough to purchase a small moon or finance a fleet of warships. "Identify sender," he commanded. The ship's AI responded in its synthetic voice. "Unknown, Commander." Transmission origin masked through 17 relays across 12 systems. Unusual. Most clients didn't possess such sophisticated encryption. Carfax's curiosity peaked as he read the contract details. Target: Human Special Forces Unit designation Phantom Squad. Deployed to Nexus Station at the edge of contested space. 12 members. Complete elimination required. No survivors. Proof of execution necessary for payment. The message included a data packet with limited intelligence on the targets. Carfax's upper arms twitched in amusement. Humans. Soft-skinned bipeds from a backwater world called Earth. They had joined the Galactic Confederation barely 60 standard years ago, their technology still primitive by most standards. Yet something troubled him. 1 billion credits to eliminate 12 humans. The bounty seemed excessive. Computer, access Confederation archives. Display all available data on human military capabilities, focusing on their special forces. The holographic display filled with information. As Carfax read, his mandibles clicked faster, a sign of growing concern among his species. Unlike most spacefaring races who had evolved past physical conflict through genetic engineering or technological ascension, humans still maintained substantial military forces. Their special forces soldiers underwent extreme training regimens that would kill members of most species. No genetic enhancements, minimal cybernetic augmentations, just natural human physiology pushed to its limits. More disturbing were the combat records. Over the past decade, human special forces had successfully completed missions against numerically superior forces equipped with more advanced technology. Their casualty rates were remarkably low compared to their success rates. Carfax closed the display. The contract now made more sense. Someone wanted these humans eliminated badly enough to pay an astronomical sum. Computer, contact, Mrevlak, Zunera, and Dren. Priority Alpha. Within hours, his 3 most trusted associates had joined him aboard the Void Talon. Together, they represented some of the deadliest mercenaries in the galaxy. Mrevlak, a Vexorian assassin whose species had evolved in an ecosystem where invisibility was necessary for both predator and prey. His chanelionic skin could bend light, making him functionally invisible to most detection systems. Zunera, a Thraxi biotechnician who had modified her body with symbiotic organisms that could produce dozens of toxins lethal to most carbon-based life forms. Dren, a hulking Vorn warrior whose silicon-based biology made him virtually impervious to conventional weapons. At 12 feet tall with skin like granite, he served as their living tank. 1 billion credits, Carfax explained after sharing the contract details. Split 4 ways after expenses. For 12 humans? Dren's voice rumbled, skepticism evident in his tone. Seems excessive. That's what concerns me, Carfax admitted. I've been researching these Phantom Squad humans. Their combat record is impressive. Zunera chittered, the sound equivalent to laughter. Humans are soft, fragile creatures. My toxins work on them efficiently. Perhaps individually, Carfax conceded. But these aren't ordinary humans. They operate with unusual effectiveness, as a coordinated unit. Mrevlak, typically silent, spoke in his whisper-soft voice. I've observed humans before. They possess adaptability, Unconventional thinking. It makes them unpredictable. Carfax nodded in agreement, which is why we're not approaching this contract like our usual operations. We'll need additional support. Over the next 14 standard days, Carfax expanded their team, recruiting 6 more mercenaries from across the galaxy. Each brought unique capabilities that complemented their strike force. A Praxi hive mind with shared consciousness across multiple bodies. A Tech specialist capable of interfacing with and disrupting any computer system. A pair of Skrull twins with psychic abilities. A Havarin demolitions expert. Their 10th member was perhaps the most valuable. A former human mercenary named Hassan who had turned against his own kind after some unspecified grievance. His insights into human tactics would be invaluable. "You're overestimating them," Hassan insisted during their tactical briefing. "They're just flesh and blood. No special adaptations, no natural weapons." "Then explain their combat record," Carfax challenged. Hassan shrugged. "Training, teamwork, and stubbornness. Their advantage is psychological, not physical. They've evolved on a death world with thousands of apex predators. They're hardwired to survive." "Death world?" Zunera asked, her color-shifting skin betraying her surprise. "That's what most species would classify Earth as," Hassan explained. "High gravity, extreme temperature variations, diverse biomes filled with predators, natural disasters, earthquakes, hurricanes, floods. Humans evolved through it all." "Interesting," Carfax mused, "but irrelevant against our capabilities. Let's focus on the mission." Their intelligence indicated that Phantom Squad was deployed to Nexus Station, a massive trading hub at the edge of contested space, to investigate suspected weapons smuggling. The humans were operating covertly, their presence known only to station security. "We'll infiltrate separately," Carfax decided. "Establish surveillance for 72 hours before engaging. Identify patterns, weaknesses. When we strike, it will be coordinated and overwhelming." The plan was meticulous, covering every contingency Carfax could imagine. As his team dispersed to prepare, he couldn't shake a lingering sense of unease. 1 billion credits suggested these humans were more dangerous than they appeared. 3 days later, Carfax's team had established themselves across Nexus Station. Their surveillance had identified all 12 members of Phantom Squad, tracking their movements, communications, and apparent mission objectives. "They operate in 4-person cells," Revlak reported. "Minimal communication between cells, rotating patrol patterns, standard counter-surveillance techniques." "Nothing exceptional," Dren grumbled. "I'm beginning to think this contract is overpriced." Carfax wasn't convinced. Their apparent ordinariness could be their greatest deception. "We proceed as planned." The opportunity came when one cell of 3 humans entered the lower maintenance levels of the station, a perfect ambush location. Carfax deployed Zunera, Revlak, and 2 others to eliminate them quietly. "Remember," he instructed, "no survivors and minimal evidence. We need to eliminate all 12 before they can alert each other." Carfax monitored the operation from their command center, a secure room they'd established in an abandoned section of the station. Through Zunera's visual feed, he watched as his team moved silently through the dimly lit maintenance corridors, closing in on the unsuspecting humans. The ambush was perfectly executed. Revlak, completely invisible, moved ahead while Zunera prepared her toxins. The 2 other mercenaries positioned themselves to block any escape routes. The humans never saw them coming. Or so Carfax thought. The first indication something was wrong came when Revlak's feed suddenly cut out. Then one of the backup mercenaries went silent. Zunera's visual feed jerked wildly before stabilizing on a human female standing calmly in the corridor, looking directly at the camera. "We knew you were watching," the human said in perfect Galactic standard, her face expressionless. "You should have taken the warning we left at Proxima Station." The feed cut out as Zunera screamed. Carfax sat motionless, mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. "What warning?" They had received no information about Proxima Station. Status report. He demanded over the secure channel. Only static responded. Dren, investigate with caution, Carfax ordered. Praxi, coordinate with the twins and establish a defensive perimeter here. Hassan, explain what just happened. The human mercenary's face had paled considerably. They knew. They've known all along. That's impossible. Our operational security was perfect. Hassan shook his head. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Phantom Squad isn't just any special forces unit. They're ghost hunters. Explain, Carfax demanded, his patience wearing thin. They specialize in eliminating alien threat forces, Hassan said, his voice unsteady. They study species weaknesses, combat doctrines, psychology. They've probably been watching us since before we arrived. Dren's communication channel activated, his voice uncharacteristically urgent. Commander, I found the team. There it's. You need to see this. The visual feed showed Carfax something he hadn't seen in centuries of mercenary work. His 4 team members lay incapacitated, but alive. Each was restrained using their own unique physiological weaknesses. Revlak's chameleonic skin had been covered with some substance that revealed his outline. Zunera's toxin glands had been precisely targeted with localized stun charges. Most disturbing were the small devices attached to each mercenary, standard mining charges, repurposed as explosives. They're tagged but alive, Dren reported. There's a message. Attached to Zunera's unconscious form was a small datapad. Written in Sekthar script, Carfax's native language, was a simple message. Contract canceled. Leave station in 6 hours or none of you will survive. This is your only warning. Carfax felt something unfamiliar creep through his nervous system. For the first time in centuries, he recognized the sensation as fear. Fall back, he ordered. We're regrouping to reassess. As his remaining team retreated to their secondary position, Carfax contemplated the implications. Somehow, these humans had anticipated their every move. Worse, they had deliberately left his team alive. A statement of confidence that chilled him to his core. 1 billion credits suddenly seemed woefully inadequate for what they were facing, and yet Carfax had never failed a contract. His reputation, his honor, demanded that he complete this mission. The hunt would continue, but now Carfax understood they weren't the predators in this scenario. They were the prey. The hunters become the hunted. They let us live as a message, Carfax said, pacing the confines of their fallback position. 6 hours had passed since the warning, but pride kept him from fleeing. No species shows mercy unless they're confident in their superiority. The remaining mercenaries exchanged nervous glances. They had retrieved their incapacitated comrades, removing the explosive devices with painstaking precision. Zunera was still recovering, her biochemistry disrupted by whatever the humans had used against her. How did they neutralize Revlak? Dren asked, voicing the question on everyone's mind. His light-bending capabilities are undetectable by human visual spectrum. Hassan, the human mercenary, cleared his throat. Phantom Squad likely uses multi-spectrum imaging, infrared, ultraviolet, vibration detection. Humans developed these technologies to compensate for their limited natural senses. Carfax stopped pacing, his compound eyes fixing on Hassan. You claim to understand human tactics, yet you failed to anticipate this. I underestimated them, Hassan admitted. Phantom Squad operates at a level beyond normal human capabilities. What else have you underestimated? Carfax's mandibles clicked in frustration. Hassan hesitated before responding. There's something about humans most species don't understand. They evolved as pursuit predators. Explain, Carfax demanded. Most predator species in the galaxy are ambush hunters or use overwhelming force for quick kills, Hassan explained. Humans evolved differently. Before they developed technology, they would track prey for days, pursuing until the target collapsed from exhaustion. The Praxi hive mind, speaking through its primary body, chittered nervously. This explains their unusual stamina metrics. It's more than physical, Hassan continued. It's psychological. Humans are relentless. They don't stop. Now that they know we're targeting them, they'll hunt us methodically. As if to emphasize his point, the lights in their secure room flickered. The environmental controls fluctuated, temperature dropping rapidly. They found us. Dren growled, raising his massive fists. Impossible. The Tyranny tech specialist protested, fingers dancing across her interface. I built 7 layers of security. Her words cut short as her console exploded in a shower of sparks. Emergency lighting bathed the room in red as the main power failed. Defensive positions, Carfax ordered, drawing his energy weapon. Praxi, deploy your secondary bodies to establish a perimeter. The Praxi's multiple forms moved toward the exits while the Skrull twins linked minds to extend their psychic awareness beyond the room. One of the twins suddenly gasped, blood trickling from her nose. They're everywhere, she whispered, terror evident in her voice. And nowhere. I can sense their presence, but can't locate them. Psychological warfare, Hassan said, his face pale. They're manipulating your psychic probing. A voice emerged from the room's communication system, a human male speaking calmly in perfect Galactic standard. You were warned. The contract is cancelled. Carfax raised his weapon toward the ceiling. We do not abandon contracts. 1 billion credits as you and your team die today. A chuckle responded, a sound that somehow conveyed more menace than any threat. Your employer didn't tell you why they want us eliminated, did they? Ask yourself, why would someone pay such an astronomical sum for 12 humans? Before Carfax could respond, the ventilation system hissed. A fine mist entered the room. Toxin, Zunera warned, her specialized organs analyzing the particles. Non-lethal paralytic agent. Masks, Carfax ordered, but it was too late for some. The Tyranny tech specialist collapsed first, her smaller respiratory system overwhelmed. The Skrull twins followed, their psychic concentration broken. Hassan pulled an emergency breather from his pack. They're thinning our numbers without killing. This isn't normal human tactics. Fall back to tertiary position, Carfax commanded. Dren, carry the incapacitated. As they retreated through the maintenance corridors, one of the Praxi's secondary bodies suddenly convulsed and collapsed. Severed neural link, the primary Praxi body reported. Something disrupted the hive connection. One by one, the Praxi's bodies fell until only the primary remained. Whatever technology the humans deployed specifically targeted the unique hive mind frequency. Their retreat became increasingly desperate. Every alternate route they selected seemed anticipated. Security barriers activated unexpectedly, separating team members. Environmental systems malfunctioned in ways that specifically disadvantaged certain species' physiologies. By the time they reached the tertiary position, a maintenance hub in the station's outer ring, only Carfax, Dren, the primary Praxi body, and Hassan remained active. How? Carfax demanded, mandibles clicking furiously. How are they predicting our every move? Hassan sat heavily against a wall. They'd been studying us since we arrived, probably before. Phantom Squad specializes in understanding alien thought patterns and behavior. Impossible, Dren rumbled. No species can predict. You don't understand, Hassan interrupted. Humans developed entire sciences dedicated to understanding how other minds work. Psychology, game theory, behavioral analysis. They'd been using these against each other for thousands of years. A distant explosion shook the station, followed by another closer one. What's happening? Carfax demanded. The Praxi accessed a nearby terminal. Station-wide alert. Unexplained explosions in quadrants 7 through 9. Distractions, Hassan explained. They're controlling the battlefield, creating chaos to mask their movements and limit our options. Another explosion, closer still. The station's artificial gravity fluctuated momentarily. Commander, the Praxi warned, Station systems indicate a hull breach warning in this sector. Automated lockdown in 60 seconds. Carfax assessed their dwindling options. We need to reach our shuttle. Cut through Quadrant 12. That's the most direct route. Hassan objected. They'll expect it. Then what do you suggest? Carfax hissed. Spacewalk. External transit to Docking Bay 4. It's longer but might avoid their surveillance. It was a desperate plan, but their options were dwindling. They suited up quickly, preparing for the vacuum of space. As they moved toward the airlock, Dren suddenly froze. Movement, he warned, enhanced vision detecting something in the shadows. A small device skittered across the floor, stopping at Dren's feet. Before anyone could react, it discharged a massive electromagnetic pulse. Dren's crystalline body, highly conductive to electrical energy, seized violently before he collapsed. Specifically targeted EMP, Hassan explained, wide-eyed, calibrated precisely to Vorn physiology. The lights failed completely, plunging them into darkness. Emergency illumination revealed only Carfax, Hassan, and the Praxi remaining conscious. They're hunting us one by one, the Praxi observed, its compound voice unusually subdued. A new message played through their communication devices. The contract isn't worth your lives. Final warning. Carfax had never abandoned a contract, never failed a mission. His pride wouldn't allow retreat, not even facing these unexpected circumstances. Proceed to airlock, he ordered. The spacewalk was perilous under normal conditions. With the station on high alert and systems malfunctioning, it became treacherous. They moved carefully along the station's outer hull, magnetic boots keeping them anchored against the rotation. 200 meters to Docking Bay 4, the Praxi calculated, coordinating their movement. Hassan suddenly stopped. Something's wrong. This is too easy. As if triggered by his words, a section of hull plating retracted ahead of them, revealing a mounted weapon. Directional EMP, Hassan warned. The pulse hit the Praxi directly. Its specialized neural system, designed for distributed consciousness, overloaded instantly. The body convulsed before floating away, inert. Keep moving, Carfax ordered, pulling Hassan forward. They'd reached the airlock to Docking Bay 4 without further incident, which only intensified Carfax's sense of foreboding. The humans were allowing them this path. Why? The airlock cycled, atmosphere returning as they removed their helmets. The docking bay appeared empty, their shuttle waiting untouched. I don't like this, Hassan whispered. As they approached the shuttle, a voice called from behind them. That's far enough. 6 humans in combat gear stood in a semicircle, weapons raised. Their leader, a female with dark skin and eyes that reminded Carfax of a predator's, stepped forward. Commander Carfax of the Sekthar, your reputation precedes you. Carfax's mandibles clicked slowly, a sign of dangerous restraint among his kind. You know my name, human. Captain Maya Chen, Phantom Squad. We know everything about you. Your tactics, your team, your previous contracts. Impossible, is it? She gestured, and a holographic display activated, showing detailed files on every mercenary in his team. Your employer has tried to eliminate us 3 times with different mercenary groups. We've studied every species' combat doctrines, physiological weaknesses, and psychological patterns. Carfax's mind raced. 3 previous attempts. Why wasn't this information provided with the contract? Chen smiled thinly. Would you have accepted if you knew the previous teams never returned? Beside him, Hassan shifted nervously. Carfax realized something that should have been obvious from the start. You're not Hassan. The human mercenary smiled, his demeanor changing subtly. Lieutenant David Park, Phantom Squad Infiltration Specialist. I volunteered for this assignment after studying your team's composition. Fury surged through Carfax's nervous system. He had been deceived, manipulated from the very beginning. Why not simply kill us? He demanded. Why this elaborate game? Chen stepped closer. Because we want you to deliver a message. The hegemony keeps sending mercenaries after us because we discovered their illegal weapons program. 3 teams have failed. You're the 4th. The hegemony. Carfax's mandibles clicked in surprise. The mysterious client was actually the galaxy's largest corporate conglomerate, known for their ruthless business practices. They're developing bioweapons prohibited by 17 Galactic Confederation treaties. Chen continued. We have the evidence. That's why the bounty on our heads keeps rising. She tossed a data crystal toward Carfax. Proof, including details of the previous teams sent to eliminate us. Carfax caught the crystal, compound eyes studying it suspiciously. You're free to go, Chen said, surprising him. Take your shuttle, and what remains of your team. Tell the hegemony and every other mercenary group what happened here. Why would you let me live? Carfax asked, mandibles clicking in confusion. Chen's expression hardened. Because you'll deliver a more effective message than your corpse would. Humans aren't the primitives most species think we are. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We survived predators, disasters, diseases, and our own worst impulses. She gestured to her team. We don't have natural armor or toxin glands or psychic abilities. We compensated with ingenuity, adaptability, and determination. When you underestimated us, it wasn't your failure. It was your species' inability to comprehend how we think. The humans stepped aside, creating a clear path to the shuttle. Take the data, study it, understand what you were truly contracted to protect. Then decide if 1 billion credits is worth becoming complicit in genocide. Carfax stood motionless, centuries of mercenary experience warring with his current predicament. He had never failed a contract, never retreated from a target. Yet these humans had systematically dismantled his elite team without killing a single mercenary. They had infiltrated his planning, anticipated his tactics, and countered each species' specific advantage with precision. The contract is void, he finally declared, mandibles clicking decisively. I will retrieve my team and depart. As Carfax boarded his shuttle hours later, his incapacitated team secured for transit, he inserted the data crystal into his ship's computer. The evidence was irrefutable. The hegemony's bioweapon program targeted specific genetic markers common in Confederation species, but absent in their own. A genocide weapon. He transmitted a coded message across secure mercenary channels, a warning that would spread throughout the galactic underworld. Contract against Human Special Forces designation Phantom Squad deemed non-viable. Extreme caution advised when engaging human military units. They are not what they appear. Detailed briefing available upon secure request. As his shuttle broke orbit from Nexus Station, Carfax contemplated the lessons of this failed contract. In all his centuries as a mercenary, he had encountered hundreds of species, each with unique abilities and advantages. Yet none had demonstrated the particular combination that made humans so dangerous. Their analytical intelligence, their ability to understand and predict other species' behaviors, their adaptability, and most significantly, their capacity to cooperate with unnerving effectiveness. Other species might possess natural weapons, enhanced senses, or specialized evolutionary advantages. Humans compensated with technology, strategy, and a relentless drive that Carfax now recognized as their true strength. For the first time in his long career, Carfax experienced something new. Respect for a physically inferior species that had nonetheless proven themselves the most dangerous predators he had ever encountered. The next time a contract came through targeting human special forces, Carfax would decline, no matter the payment offered, and he would make sure every other mercenary group in the galaxy understood why. Some prey, he had learned, were best left unhunted.